The best of the week on Relevant Radio.
The Drew Mariani Show on Relevant Radio.
Well, good afternoon and welcome. It is great to be with you this afternoon. If you are just tuning in, I am broadcasting live from Denver, Colorado, the 144th Supreme Convention of the Knights of Columbus. If you've been following my coverage over the past day or two, you've heard remarkable stories of charity and evangelization, humanitarian relief, religious liberty, service, and so much more. In just a moment, you're going to hear from the Supreme Knight, Patrick Kelly. What an amazing story he has. Before I get to him, though, just to set the scene for you, behind all of the efforts, all that you're hearing that the Knights of Columbus are doing, I want to give credit to Blessed Michael McGivney, who in 1882 formed faithful Catholic men who the focus was to strengthen their families and to serve their parishes and to change the world through Christian charity. And fast forward almost a century and a half later, and what do we see? The vision is alive in over 2 million Knights, actually 2.2 million is the number I heard today, serving countries all around the globe. Leading the mission, the Supreme Knight, Patrick Kelly, his life has been dedicated to service, both to the church and to the country and to the Knights of Columbus. He served as a U.S. Navy JAG officer. He promoted international religious freedom. He leads a renewal of the St. John Paul II National Shrine. He's now serving as the Order's chief executive, and he spent a career defending human dignity and helping Catholics live their faith boldly. And I'm delighted to have him here with me today. It's truly an honor. Thank you so much for your time.
The honor is mine.
Now, you've done so much. I've said this before to you about both your career and how God is now using you. I'm delighted to have it. I heard your speech, almost 90 minutes. Phenomenal in what the Knights accomplished. I'm always so impressed. This year's theme, let's talk about that and what's being accomplished. Clearly, the vision of McGivney in 1882 has blossomed to an international outreach, and it continues to grow.
Yeah. Well, our theme was "In the One, We Are One," and every year we have a theme for the convention and a theme for my address, and it just seemed very appropriate this year to take Pope Leo, our new Pope from the United States, to take his episcopal motto, "In the One, We Are One." And I think there's so many meanings there, but for the Knights, our second principle is unity. Yeah. And I think that is something that we need in all of our countries. People need it in their own lives too. I think I talked a little bit about this in the report. There's fractions and friction and dissension. So it just seemed to us that unity was a good theme for this year.
It's beautiful. I love it. You spoke of the Pope. What's with the Holy Father and the papal video? I also understand that you have a history with him. He goes back to, you knew him as Cardinal Prevost, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I met him. I met him when he was first bishop. But he's a delight to meet with. His English is very good. and
no accent, no South Chicago accent.
No, there's a slight Chicago accent, but no, really, just a delightful person. He listens. He listens very well, and then he kind of saves all his questions for later. And he'll come back. Like when I met with him one of these times, I was describing some of the things that the Knights were doing, and I described our core initiative, and then the conversation moved on, and then he went back to core. He went back to it to talk about it, because I think he's very interested. He's acutely aware of kind of what men are going through in our culture, and he wanted to talk about that.
Well, that's been a passion for you. I think last year when I had an opportunity to sit down with you, we had a similar conversation about core. Core meaning heart, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
For those who don't know, maybe you can talk about that. We live in a culture where there's fierce, men feel isolated.
Yes.
Right? They really do. And yet within the Knights, this fraternal community, you see 2.2 million members, and it's continuing to grow, which is pretty amazing. Your message is that if you reach the man, then you reach the family, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the parish, you get the community, you get everything, and I think it's a bold vision. For those who don't know, share a little bit about the core initiative. I think
so what core is it's a I don't want to call it a program, because it's more than that. But our Knights of Columbus, our Knights of Columbus councils around the world offer a meeting, a core meeting for the men of the parish. You don't have to be a member of the Knights to do it,
right.
but we offer this meeting for the men of the parish, and we do prayer, we do faith formation, and we do fraternity. Those three things. And what we are doing is where men have a hunger to know their faith, right? I think so many of us didn't really get the catechesis we probably needed growing up, and so CORE is filling that vacuum, but it's doing it in an atmosphere of friendship. And we started 4 years ago with a small pilot of 60 councils, and now we have 6,000 councils doing it.
Wow.
So clearly it's taking, right? You see the interest. And I think it is also kind of indicative of what's going on in the church in general, with converts and with young people coming back to the church or turning to the church for the first time.
Yeah, I was having a conversation earlier the other day about that, because we see this exodus out of the church, the rise of the nuns, but I'm seeing reports now, and they're coming all across the country, of Gen Z, millennials, that they're filling churches. They're coming back once again, which is a tremendous sign. I just love it.
It is. The joke is you have these boomer parents whose kids are going to church, and they're looking at each other.
True.
What did we do wrong?
It's so true. It's actually so funny. It's so tragic too. That is so true. I heard I'm surprised. I never knew this about you, but Archbishop Fulton Sheen, of course, great event going to be happening in just a month. I understand that when you were a young boy, it's interesting how paths cross, how God allows people to meet. You met Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen. Share that story with those who may not know him.
So Sheen, this was the early 70s. I was 9 years old, and Sheen came to our parish to do a weekend parish mission. And our pastor, I think probably he didn't know what to do with Sheen on a Saturday night.
Right.
So he called up my mom and dad, and he said, "Can I bring Sheen over for dinner?" So obviously, yes, let's do that. So my mom, I'm sure she cleaned up the house, and so we had Archbishop Sheen for dinner, and he told us great stories. And as of course, all my siblings, we were all just captivated by his stories. And you're meeting someone. You were meeting a renowned Catholic evangelist. It was great.
That had a profound impact on you, though?
Yeah, it's something that I just had a sense I was around a remarkable person, right? And it was one of those things that kind of lives in family history, right? We got some pictures of it, and we still sort of share those pictures around the family a bit. And now here we are, 50 years later, and Sheen is going to be beatified.
And he was a knight.
Yes, he was a knight.
I heard you mention that today.
Yeah, he was a knight. He spoke at our Supreme Conventions.
I think saints meet saints sometimes, And John Paul II didn't live too far, or he didn't work too far away from the convent of St. Faustina.
Yeah.
Paths cross, So I think that's kind of providential.
Yeah.
Here you are leading one of the largest Catholic organizations on the planet. And, Sheen, of course, one of the great evangelists of our day, influenced people. He fought against and spoke and taught against, really is maybe a better way of putting it, the rise of socialism, the evils of communism. And I'd love to get your take on that, because one of the other tenets of the Knights, of course, is patriotism.
Yeah.
And we see the rise of patriotism in the country today. There's some confusion with nationalism.
Yes.
But we also see the DSA, we see socialism, and I'm fearful that the very slippery and eerie creep of communism could follow that.
Yeah.
I know the Knight's mission is to bring patriotism to the culture. How do you see all that's unfolding around us, and what do you see the Knight's role in bringing truth to that?
I think the Knight's role is to bring truth to this. I think our role is to stay with the gospel, to stay with Catholic social teaching. Patriotism, and this is why I said today, to be a knight is to be a patriot, right? Some people want to shy away from that word because they think, well, that's politics, or I'm uncomfortable with that. But that's misunderstanding. Patriotism really is about being grateful. Being grateful for this great country that we have, for the gifts that we've been given. Is it perfect? No. Has our country always been perfect? No. But nothing is perfect, right? So we have a lot to be thankful for. When I was just out of college, I went to Africa. I was working, and I spent 3 weeks in Africa. I came back to the United States. I had a much greater appreciation for this country. So.
Yeah. Anybody who travels abroad like that and they see abject poverty, I'm sure you've been to some of the poorest places in the world. Yeah. You come back, you're like, this is a nation that God has truly blessed, and it makes you proud to be an American. Yeah, it's tragic. You see people today who don't even, not just respect the flag, but they associate it with a political party.
Yeah.
It's not red, it's not blue, right? It's not Democratic or Republican or any other party. It's representative of all the people of the United States. So I'm so glad that the Knights do that. I know you only have a moment or two left, so let me get your vision for the future. What do you see? There's no shortage of challenges for the country. Mm-hmm. Church, of course, faces challenges as well, and I know you're there to support the church and the nation. Yeah. What's your hope for the future? What do you see?
Yeah, so my hope for the future is that what we're seeing in terms of a resurgence of faith, that it really continues. My hope is that we sort of bottomed out. Maybe you could say we bottomed out in the COVID years in 2020. But my hope is that what we're really seeing is the flowering of the new evangelization, what John Paul II talked about for so many years. We went through some dark times in the church with scandals and with everything that occurred, like I said, in COVID. But what I see a brightness coming. I see people interested in their faith. We have a Pope from the United States, which is no one ever thought. I mean, I think we were all stunned at this. So I'm very happy, and I'm really excited about the future of the Knights too.
I am too.
Where the church thrives, the Knights thrive.
Yeah. Right. Amen to that. Final thought, invitation to any man who's listening.
Yeah, so I would say to those men who are listening, if you want to serve, if you want to be with brothers, if you want to be with the church, join the Knights of Columbus. Go to kfc.org. Join, and you can join the Knights, and you can be in a brotherhood of 2.2 million men, and you won't regret it. I can say that.
Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly, thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Keep up
Drew.
your great work. I hope we talk again soon, okay?
I appreciate it very much.
One final thought before I have to take a break here. One thing to me is abundantly clear. The Knights of Columbus has never simply been an organization, as you just heard the Supreme Knight say. It really is a movement. It's a movement of Catholic men who believe that faith should be lived, not just professed. And they are a light shining in the darkness of this culture. They're there for both the nation and for the church. And I've got a lot more coming up for you straight ahead. So stay with me. Our conversation will continue right after this.
That was the best of the week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the best of the week is on the Relevant Radio app, free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.